Welcome to There is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell and I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs and I've been in business since 1994, and that is 28 years. That's a long time. Today I'm going to talk about some of my quotes and sayings I use at the gym and try to expound on them a little bit. But before I do that, I want to thank our sponsors, Jonathan and Lynn Gilden at the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They're absolutely the best, which is why they have the most 5 stars on Zillow, which is pretty damn awesome if you ask me. I can vouch for them, absolutely. If you need help with any real estate, please give them a call, go to their website at thegildengroup.com. Okay? All right, so let's get into this today. One of the sayings I love to say at the gym is, form is everything. And it is. So there's always that talk in every industry and in everything really, quantity versus quality. Letter of the law versus spirit of the law. However we all want to word things, there's always that battle. Does the numbers count or do how we do it count? And the answer is, of course, both. But we have to put the emphasis on form, right? I mean, we have to do things right. So form is everything. Once we get the form down, then of course we do want to challenge ourselves to the best of our ability to get a little bit better. But we really want to make sure that we do it right first. Let's take an example of a squat. Squats are one of the most important and widely done exercises that I can think of. I mean, they're a great exercise, and I think almost everybody has heard the term squat, and I think almost everybody that goes into a gym does a version of a squat. Well, a squat can be done completely wrong in a number of different ways, and you might end up training the wrong muscle groups. Does that mean you're not getting stronger? No, it just means you're not getting stronger in the muscle groups you intended to get stronger in. Now, this happens more in the powerlifting circles and in the big weightlifting circles. So mostly the guys really trying to squat some super heavy weight. What you see most of the time is they are trying to get as low as possible, say to 90 degrees, so their squat actually counts if it was a powerlifting competition. And also they want it to count in the eyes of their workout partners and everybody in the gym, because nobody wants to be known as the guy that can squat pretty heavy but he never goes all the way down. So most people are really trying to push it all the way down. And by the way, for the record, I'm not saying that's absolutely necessary. I'm just saying that that's what happens. So when the objective becomes go as low as I can with as heavy of a load as I can, what tends to happen a lot, especially if there is hardly any awareness of what the person's supposed to be doing, is the entire trunk falls forward. In other words, the person's trunk is basically almost flat at the bottom with the weights on the top of their shoulders / back, like across the back part of their shoulders. And they are hinged so far forward that as they come up, it kind of looks like they're doing a good morning exercise. That's an exercise where you put a bar on the back of your shoulders and you bend forward, keeping your legs straight and come up. That's what a lot of their squats look like. And sure, they're bending their hips and knees too, but they're really ending up bending all three. So what this does is this puts a tremendous amount of load on the lower back and hardly any load, especially on the glutes, believe it or not. You're still getting your quads because the load pushes you so far forward that as you're coming up, there is such a heavy load over the top of your knees that as you're coming up, you're pretty much only working your quads and your lower back. Well, I hate to break it to you, sports fans, that's not what the squat was intended to work. The squat was intended to work your glutes and your quads. That's it. People would say hamstring. Hamstring has very little involvement in a squat, actually. So the glutes and the quads, and there's no way you're going to target the glutes unless you can keep your chest up, keep your knees behind your toes and press all the way through on the way up. And we see this all the time where people really don't know how to engage their glutes on a squat. So that's one of the things we always teach at the gym. Okay, so that's just an example of form is everything. So if you're only going to the gym thinking I want to squat 300 pounds and that's your form, well, great, but you didn't really do the targeted outcome. All right. Let's say it's a pull-up and you think, I heard my buddy does 10 pull-ups, I want to do 10 pull-ups. You do 10 pull-ups and you're using nothing but momentum and you're not going all the way down and you're not going all the way up. And it's like, okay, so what did you really do? The idea of a pull-up is to strengthen your pull muscles, which are your latissimus dorsi, your rhomboids, and your biceps. Those are your pulling muscles. So if you're not going all the way down, then you're not stretching out your biceps. You're not stretching out or elongating your lats as you pull up. So you're only strengthening both of those muscle groups in one area, not completely. And if you're using a lot of momentum, there may not be a lot of muscle involvement anyway. There might be there is a lot of momentum in a fast pull-up done with momentum. So you're really not getting your targeted outcome anyway. So form is everything for that particular reason. That you're just simply not hitting your targeted spot. All right, so form is everything. Next one I want to talk about a little bit is if it's burning, it's working. So that's kind of the opposite. So if it's burning, it's working means basically that you are getting the lactate in the muscles. So the lactate is the byproduct of anaerobic metabolism. So after the ATP and CP, creatine phosphate, has regenerated more ATP, that's the energy system we're in when we're anaerobic, then the byproduct of that, or the carbon dioxide, so to say, which is the exhaust of the aerobic system, or the carbon monoxide, which is the exhaust of your car, the lactic acid is the function of the exhaust of your anaerobic / muscular system. Okay, so then that tells you if the muscles are burning. And I had a client today, both on the hip abduction and on the leg extension, and I think on the leg curl too, but most notably on those two, talking about the burn being like outright like not being able to stand it. And I get it, and I kind of warned him going in. I said, feel more burn on these leg extensions than anything, and it kind of made a little bet with them. And yeah, I won. Why? Well, it's so isolated, for one. It's such an isolated movement, a quad extension. The quads are such a huge muscle group. They're only smaller than the glutes, that's it. So when you're isolating them, so they're so large, there's so much lactate being produced, and it's really hard to cheat on a leg extension. I mean, you're raising up, you're pausing, you're lowering. You can't. If you use momentum, you get yelled at because it's really silly to use momentum on a primary or an isolation exercise, and it's just not good. And it's, we don't want that. So they're not going to do that. So they're producing so much lactate. It's going to burn. But I always say, well, the good news is we know we're hitting our targeted spot. So it's the polar opposite of shitty form, like I was talking about before, because, you probably won't even get any lactic acid production that you would notice in a squat done poorly because you're doing it in such bad form. There's so many odd muscle groups getting involved that you're not really targeting anything. And the same would be on a pull-up done ballistically. You're not really feeling burn because you're doing everything so fast. You might be getting your heart rate up, which is great if you're trying to burn calories, but you're not really getting yourself into anaerobic metabolism where you can get stronger. So if it's burning, it's working simply means you're doing it right. And it's a great way to be able to focus on that muscle group, When I work out, I love to do sort of a meditation when I work out. I focus on my form. And then once I hit a certain rep, 6, 8, 9, whatever, and I start to feel the burn, well, then I shift to that and I really think about it. I meditate on it. Oh man, I really feel this deep into my triceps. How long can I hold it in good form? And I meditate on that. And yeah, I'm trying to maybe strive for a certain amount of reps, but at the same time, I know mission accomplished. All right. I did what I needed to do on that exercise. So if it's burning, it's working is such a truism. So that's one that I absolutely love as well. All right. So those are the big two. Those are the ones that I say probably the most. I've had t-shirts that say, if it's burning, it's working. And I think I might have had t-shirts made that said, form is everything. I know I've had the burning one because, we say it all the time. And I'll wrap this up by saying a funny one that absolutely went nowhere. And I'm not going to give credit or discredit to the person who brought it up because he really thought he was doing the right thing. And he was a physician in town. And his slogan was, Rob, you need to make shirts that say, stop sarcopenia. Because all these people were making all these stop things, stop obesity, stop this, stop that. And he's like, stop sarcopenia. And for those that don't know, sarcopenia is muscle loss related to aging. So age-related muscle mass. So he knew that being a physician. I knew that being a physiologist. So thinking, okay, that's cool. I mean, people hated these shirts. They're like, what the hell is sarcopenia? And you explain it to them and they're looking at you like, that's stupid. It's like, okay, it is stupid. But you know what? I was able to give a shit ton of those shirts to students for free, and they got to wear them and, throw them in the trash in a week or so. And I think I spent too much money on them. But, hey, a t-shirt never goes to waste because they always find somebody else to give it to that might want it because, like they say, another man's trash is another man's treasure. That's where Stop Sarcopenia went. But let's hold on to if it's burning, it's working. Let's hold on to form is everything. And until next time, be Max Fit and be Max Well.